Yeah, I'm Keaton, aka The Usual Suspect, and this is the section of the DVD where we're going to be interviewing some of your favourite drum and bass artists. So if you want to come with me. And here we are, Mr. Dbridge, the legend of the Bad Company crew. Come through. Come in. So Dbridge, here we are in the studio.
Pretty basic setup. Over the years, kind of refined it down to 2 basic bits of equipment: my laptop and my babies, my Mackie speakers.
Right. Do you think you can tell the difference between stuff that's been done all in digital? Obviously, you're bouncing this internally, or stuff that's running through an EMU in a desk.
If you've got the ear for it, you can hear a difference. But it's almost like, can the average raver notice the difference? Record buyer. There is an argument that the sound has degraded a bit since, talking to engineers, the mastering engineers at Heathman's and Exchange Simon, and they're like, they've noticed there's been a difference in sound quality. But I think that was more to do with people making the transition to software and getting used to it.
Not getting it right.
Yeah, and weren't getting it right the first time around. But now it's kind of like people are really getting their heads around it and getting good sounds out of it.
So what about an average Dbridge tune? Like how would you normally start your tune?
I'll have like 2-3 weeks of collecting samples. Living around here, I've got a lot of cool little record shops. Like go and find old things, collect them all, sample them, cut them up, and then I've got like that month's batch of samples. Like the way my sampler is set up, I've got it broken down into each month. Month samples, do you know what I mean?
Okay. So what's the first thing you get up though?
It's always the beats, man.
Always the beats?
Has to be.
So you get your groove going, get your beats, and then what's next? Laying sounds, or you go straight for bass?
Generally it's the sounds next. Something that's going to give me the direction in which, do you know what I mean, the bass line's going to go.
Do you want to show us something you'd be doing on,
Yeah, why not, man? Alright, for me...
We're running Logic now, yeah?
So I'll get a break up, get that running. I'm kind of like, the way I work is like, I like layering things. I prefer to create or make a break, because I use recycle to cut things up. And then to get the MIDI file as well. So within my sampler, so this is it. I've got all these, all these breaks. So using a Cook Congo, so on my hard drive, I've got the MIDI file for that break as well. Right. So Cook Congos. So now I can just drag that MIDI file into the arrangement. And usually it'll probably be, because it's going to usually be a little bit, you'll see it's like a little bit out of time.
So you've taken a 1-bar loop in Recycle, chopped it all the accent points, and then you're bringing it in, and so it's playing its original groove right now. And then you're gonna quantize.
Now I'm gonna quantize it, just to tighten it up a little bit.
Right. The main break is just one break now. You're saying when we hear that finished Dbridge or Bad Company product, the break that we hear is normally a combination of 3 or 4 breaks.
Yeah, kind of like I'll listen to it, and if it sounds heavy enough, then it's cool. But more often than not, I may layer the bass and the snare with another foot drum or snare that I'll know will add weight. For that kind of thing, I tend to use hip hop drums, because their kits are just a lot. I don't know, it's just
cleaner and snap and
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm obviously just going to follow the foot to the original break.
Follow the rhythm. More weight.
Just adding a bit more weight to it.
And then you carry on to do that with snare and beat.
I'll maybe find a snare, or listen to it. I might want to put some kind of jiggy in there, like a little flutter of a roll. I basically put it through this bad boy here, the PSP Vintage Warmer. This just like it's like automatic fatness. Do you know what I mean?
Your Dbridge, your Bad Company. I know you're doing a lot of DJing and producing on your own rather than just with a crew. Like, what's really going on with you now?
Because I was in that kind of unit, it was hard for people to really hear what I was about. Do you know what I mean? So in a way, it's almost like you can get lost within the group. Fresh was the first to kind of step away from BC. He's gone out there and he's made a name for himself as an individual. So it's like, well, I can do that as well, and I was ready for that as well. Bad Company had this knack of producing anthems in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So like the tunes that I make on my own aren't really that way inclined. They're not designed to smash up a dance floor.
Yeah.
Whereas BC tunes really were. The way your studio's designed makes a difference. Do you know what I mean? And it was very one player, our studio. There's always like one person in control, and then you got the seats around the outside.
I know that vibe. Yeah.
Shot Down on Safari. I don't know, really have nothing to do with that album. I was going through. I think a lot of producers go through that in the stage. They're kind of like unsure of whether they really want what they're doing and what they're involved in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I wasn't in a happy place personally myself. I wasn't really feeling what was going on. I stepped away from drum and bass and I moved. You know, I went in and I started working with my brother Spacek and helped him on his album.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst,
which is what? That's a hip hop project, right?
Yeah, it's hip hop. He was signed to K7, and you know, I did some tracks on that, and it was cool because I was like, because I've been so caught up in drum and bass for so many years, you lose sight of a lot of things. I had a year and a half where I really wasn't happy and wasn't in it, and now it's kind of like I've come back, and the dynamics of DC has changed. You know what I mean? Fresh is doing his thing now, and now I'm kind of like, yeah, I feel like I need to do my solo project. So it's like I feel a lot, you know what I mean, a lot stronger, a lot better because. Whereas before, like I said, because you're in that group, you're only part of your voice will ever be heard. You know, now people can just hear me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And there's time, and in a way, it's like I know it's like a selfish attitude, but sometimes as a musician, you need to. Do you know what I mean?
Obviously, your start's always been musical. You can hear there's a lot of musical talent in Bad Company, but rather than the music being played with kind of noisy, angry sounds or keys, I'm noticing your solo work's a lot lighter.
Yeah, in my head, it's like aggressively beautiful. That's the term I've kind of coined for myself. It's got the weight, but it's still got the melody. It's got melodies and it's got soul. And it's
so you're keeping the beats hard and the bass hard, but the flavours on top is what's making it a bit different. What tips would you give to aspiring up and coming drum and bass producers out there?
People get too caught up in tunes. Kind of like I've got tens of thousands of loops on there. Do you know what I mean? And I'll almost find that there may be one in every 20 that will get finished, or is any good. So it's like don't over listen to things. Get some good speakers. These are my weapons of choice. The HR824s, Mackeys. Choose your sequencer. Do you know what I mean? And just really get to know it. Really, you know, and just fiddle around and just have a look around at things and look at what things do. Don't be afraid to just try things out. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to blow up in your face. So it's like, give everything a go, man. Just try it all.
Well, that's wicked, man.
Cool, man.
Nice one.
Thanks for coming around.
So what I'm saying on Code of the Streets is there's only one code of the streets, and that's the green cross code. Because there's some crazy drivers out there. So kids need to be aware and look both ways before you cross the road.